Hey YouTube, John here, and today we're going to be talking about creatine. Dude, you don't have to talk about creatine. I know this stuff. It's like the only legal steroid. Gets you totally pumped. Yeah, my buddy started using it, gained like 3 pounds of muscle in the first week. But you know what? I don't use it. That stuff tears up your kidneys. Believe it or not, everything this guy's saying is wrong. Okay, so let's talk about what creatine actually is. Creatine is a naturally occurring substance in the body, which is primarily produced by the liver and the kidneys, or it can be gained by consuming creatine-containing foods, such as fish and meat. Basically, the process for producing creatine goes something like this. 2 amino acids, arginine and glycine, come together and are catalyzed by glycine aminotransferase, or GATM for short, to produce guanidinoacetate. And this guanidinoacetate is then catalyzed by guanidinoacetate N-methyltransferase, which is abbreviated GAMT, because that's not confusing at all, to produce creatine. Well, I'm sure that some of you are saying, wow, that's cool. And then again, most of you are probably saying that synthesis mechanisms are boring as hell, and you just want to know what creatine actually does. Well, I'll tell you. Creatine's main function is to provide more substrate to your body's naturally occurring ATP-producing reactions. ATP being the basic energy unit that allows your body to do pretty much everything. Let's think of this as an analogy. Think of ATP as the energy currency of your body. Now, think of an action, we'll say a muscle contraction, as something you want to use that ATP to buy. And here's where creatine comes in. Think of creatine as something that allows you to use more ATP towards that purchase. So with the help of creatine, you're able to buy a bigger, more expensive, and in this case, a more forceful muscle contraction. And this is usually where people start getting concerned. Something that offers you more money, or more energy, with no drawbacks, it sounds too good to be true. And as we're usually taught, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Or it's illegal. But thankfully, neither one of these rules apply in this case. But still, people hold a lot of false views about creatine. So let me run through a few of the big ones and knock them down for you. Myth number 1. Creatine makes you gain all kinds of muscle right away. Many people think this because typically when somebody starts taking creatine, they'll gain about 1 to 3 pounds in the first week. But this isn't muscle. This is actually caused from increased water retention, caused by more creatine molecules being in the muscles of the body. So even though this water weight isn't a bad thing, it isn't the muscle gain that a lot of people think it is. Myth number 2, the more creatine you take, the better. Though many people seem hellbent on spreading the word that when it comes to supplementation, more is always better, that's like almost never the case. And though taking an extra amount of creatine isn't going to be harmful to you, you're probably going to waste a lot of money. Because once your body reaches its saturation point of creatine, all the excess creatine is just expelled as waste. Myth number 3, creatine destroys your kidneys. Okay, since creatine's use became popularized in the early 70s, it's been one of the most rigorously tested supplements on the market. Though many tests have been done by such accredited programs as Harvard, the Mayo Clinic, and Johns Hopkins University, not one shred of evidence has come up which links creatine to kidney damage. And myth number 4, creatine is a steroid. Okay, without going into too much detail, creatine is nothing like a steroid. Creatine doesn't mimic a bodily hormone like a steroid does. Creatine doesn't function at all like a steroid does. Creatine usage doesn't have any of the awful side effects that steroid usage has. And structurally speaking, this is a steroid, this is creatine. This is a steroid, this is creatine. This is a steroid, this is creatine. If you take nothing else away from this video, please understand that creatine is not a steroid. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about some actual uses of creatine. Though creatine is usually associated with people like this, or this, it could just as easily be associated with people like this, or even this. Beyond just helping athletes lift more and run faster, recent creatine research has shown it to have a multitude of other practical uses, some of which include increasing the muscle strength of patients with muscular dystrophy, slowing the vision loss in patients suffering from gyrate atrophy, slowing the mental deterioration of patients with early onset Parkinson's, and a whole host of other practical uses. Yeah, this stuff is amazing. Well, hopefully this video has helped to demystify creatine for you. Hit subscribe if you've learned something, and make sure to tune in for weekly videos. Thanks for watching.